Hi, my name is Jennifer Cody Epstein, and I'm the author of Wonderland. I've always been really fascinated in a obviously horrified way with the Holocaust and the history of the Holocaust. One of the things that I'd never been able to really wrap my head around was how it happened on a personal level. I understood the large-scale events that led to the murder of 6 million people and the downfall of a progressive modern society in Germany. What I didn't understand was the role of everyday people like myself in allowing that to happen. And when I started writing Wonderland, it was really with an eye towards that. It was about the personalities and the emotions that took part in this sort of catastrophic historical event and what those people would have been feeling and thinking as they found themselves players in this incredible, horrible story. So in a lot of ways, it was an opportunity for me to kind of get closer to the story of the Holocaust in a way that I wouldn't have been able to do simply from reading history texts, for example. I think the subject matter of Wonderland is, for me, somewhat unexpectedly relevant on a lot of levels today. When I started writing it about 6 years ago, it felt very separate. It felt like a particular moment in history that I was very interested as a writer in exploring, but not one that had a lot of pertinence to the world that we were living in at that time. Obviously, as I continued to write, the world around us started to change, and I began to see similar patterns around me, both in the United States and in Europe and elsewhere, that were sometimes uncomfortably evocative of the themes that I was trying to explore in my book. Themes like nationalism, like extreme partisanship, like violence, anti-Semitism, anti-immigration backlashes. These were all things that I was struggling with in the context of the Wonderland storyline, but also began to see myself really trying to comprehend on the news as I turned it on or picked up a newspaper. And I think that those similarities are instructive on a lot of levels, and I'm hoping that when people read Wonderland, it will sometimes perhaps help them to look at what's happening around them in perhaps a slightly different way. I have to say I'm not someone that really wants to tell readers what to take away from my work. I think reading and writing are two sides of a dialogue, and I wouldn't want to try to shape that dialogue any more than I would try to put words into somebody else's mouth. I think if people read and are provoked to think and to imagine and to try to understand the themes and the events of my novel more than they would otherwise have been, then my job as an author has been fulfilled. But I think that it's a very intensely subjective process, reading, and also intensely personal. So I really want people just to take away from it what they need to take away from it.